Hey guys, I'm back with another video. So I realized a lot of you guys don't know how to do easy print and cut and don't know how to get a picture like this into a sticker. I'm not going to print today, but I am going to show you guys how to trace and detach this white area from this sunflower. So you can have the cut lines on the outside of this flower and not be worried about cutting this here, okay? So what you're going to do is for simple print and cut is I have my placement set for 8.5 by 11 mat. And how do you know that to check that? Is you go here in your page setup panel. Auto is my Cameo 4. I got my cutting mat set to 12 by 12. And then my media size is 8.5 by 11. You guys can go up, you can go down, depending on your printer preferences. I set that to 8.5 by 11 for my printer. And then over to the far right is called registration marks. You can turn them off or you can turn them on. If you are starting out with print and cut, please make sure and leave your settings at default. So that way when you leave them at default, it's a guaranteed proper cut. Silhouette says there's about 1/16 of an inch of a white border that's going to go on there. Don't worry about that. That's not your computer. That's not your printer. That's not your Silhouette machine. You can print and cut with any of the Silhouette machines. You can print and cut with the Cameo, the Portrait, and the Curio that I believe, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty positive, is based off the same software. So leave your settings at default, okay guys? And then another little hint and trick that a friend taught me is turn on that print bleed. When you turn on the print bleed, after we're done with this sunflower, it's gonna put a little bit of extra ink in those edges. So that way it doesn't cut exactly off the sunflower in the white area if it does have that 1/16 of an inch border there, okay? So we're going back to our page setup, turn that off. So this is my sunflower that I want to use. This red line right here, that is your print border. Nothing should exceed that print border, okay? So you just drag that down, okay? So that's a decent size. I'm going to be happy with that. And it's not a high quality photo. I just copied and pasted from Google Images to show you guys this. But you can just about do it with any picture that you want to do. So you want to cut and you want to print this pretty sunflower. So you're going to select trace area and we want to highlight all of it. Okay? So the trace area is what it's going to do and highlight all this. If you select normal trace right here, that's going to make all these cut lines. I don't want to do that today. I want to print and cut. So I'm going to make sure my threshold is high enough. Okay, there we go. So turn that all the way up until everything is in the yellow. We're keeping everything in the yellow area. We're not making any cut lines. And then you're going to go to the bottom and trace and detach. What that's going to do is you drag that away and there you go. You got your sunflower and you got the white border that you drag away. So we're going to delete this. Okay, so now you say, well, I got my sunflower now, but I want to have like a little edge on it. Okay, let's do that. So over on the right hand side, you're going to see this little star tool that's called offset. Okay, and then up here, it's going to turn on offset. And this little red line, I don't know if you can see it right here, that is the offset of saying, hey, this is give or take where you're gonna cut. Okay, so we're gonna cut that line, but I want to drop it down a little bit more. Okay, and apply. And so you guys can see it better, I'm gonna change this offset color to black. There we go. So now we're definitely confused, aren't we? So we got the offset color, and then we have the sunflower cutout. Okay, So now what we're going to want to do, let's see here. That didn't quite match up, so let's change that to brown. I still don't like that. Okay, we're not going to offset it. I like it the way it is. So to know for sure if your cut is set up properly with your cut lines, is go ahead and go to this sim panel, and right here is where it's going to cut. Those red lines are the cutting, okay? And just for shits and giggles, I haven't ran my printer in a little while. Let's delete that offset. Let's go ahead and print it anyways. So this is my print panel. And I don't know if you can see it. Zoom it in there. This is that little print bleed there. So that way it says, hey, we got a little bit of print bleed, so that way it's not 100% white. Okay? So it should be a little bit of brown, but it'll be better once you start practicing with it. I'm just doing a quick, fast, and in a hurry tutorial. So press print. And then a lot of mistakes here happen. And I see a lot here with these new people where they're not paying attention to what they're clicking in Windows. So you make sure and select your printer, and then over here you go to preferences, and I'm just going to use plain old bright paper and standard print mode because this is just something simple that I'm doing for you guys real quick, and push OK, and then print. And I'll come right back. Alright, so that just got done printing. My registration marks are still at default, so you can get a pretty large picture on an 8.5 by 11 with default registration marks. So make sure and do your best when you're doing the sizing not to get past that borderline on that red mark that I showed you earlier in the video. So you guys should already know how to load it up your mats. Which all you new people, if you're watching this week's goals is I'm going to try to do a beginners of Cameo 4. It's going to take me a little bit because I'm no professional, but I'm going to do my best to do a beginners. I'm trying to make sure and do it right. So we're going to send that through. It's going to read this registration marks. And what that's doing is cutting on the outside of the sunflower that we set up. And I'm not trying for a perfect cut. I'm just trying for, like I said, a quick tutorial. Because it looks like I have my force turned up way too high, but it should be okay. So that's done. Uh-oh. Something happened. And I know exactly why it happened. I will print another one. Come on. Okay. You guys can see that right there? That's not the printer and that's not the Cameo. What happened is, and I saw it happen, I tried to avoid it, but in my limited workspace, is that my registration marks didn't read correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out another one to the printer and reprint. Okay, so I reprinted and now I'm going to pull my Cameo forward a little bit because what happened with that other print is that it hit the wall as I was doing the registration marks. It read them, but something happened in that process. And you notice here that I changed my matte color. I have strong matte, which is purple. I have light stick matte, which is light blue. And then I have my standard stick matte that is that pink. And I'll explain that again in another video at a later date. So insert my matte. Go back to my computer. And push send. Now it should register correctly this time. There we go. No bumping on the wall, so everything should be reading right. Much better. Alright, so that's all done. Pop it out. Alright, I tore that a little bit, but that was my fault. And here you go. Here's your print and cut sunflower. Look at that. If you're starting out with print and cut, what honestly I would do is I would start with just plain old copy paper. Please don't waste your printable vinyl or your water slide or any fancy materials until you get the hang of it, until you understand how it works. Because it can be confusing and it can be time consuming to learn it. And the most depressing thing is you'll waste material trying to learn it if you don't follow instructions and be patient with yourself, okay? So please, please, please just use cheap paper until you get the hold of it, until you understand how it works, the process of it, get used to the trace feature, get used to the other features, and then you can cut magically and beautifully just like this. So if you guys have any questions, comments, just let me know down in the comment section down below. Please like this video or let me know if you like any of my other videos that I have on my profile, and I'll talk to you guys soon.